are live. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to episode number 44 of the Nuclear Golf Podcast. My name is John. I'm the co-owner of Nuclear and TW Legion, joined tonight by Joey from Scheffler Fans, Ryan from JT Legion, and Hutch Bennett, one of our Nuclear Golf ambassadors. Well, it's a pretty big week in golf, to be honest with you. There's a lot to discuss, lots of topics on deck here. Even though it's a bit of a slower time of the season, we've arrived at the Hero World Challenge. So we've got Hero Week this week. They've actually got a pretty weak field this year, so not the greatest thing on earth, but some guys playing for some hit and giggle money down in the Bahamas. We'll get into some of the pairings, but I think the storyline tomorrow will probably be the Tiger Woods press conference, which is taking place at 9 a.m. So we'll chat about that, see what we expect to hear from him. We've also got news about that potential PGA Tour schedule shakeup that we referred to last week. Golf Digest is out with a number of particular details that may be coming to fruition here in 2027. Talk about that. Rory McIlroy's made some new comments about live golf. Always one to give his opinion, whether you agree or not. We'll chat about that. Another six-time major winner actually says that Rory's going to struggle to win another major altogether. So get into that. I don't think too many people will agree with that take. Got some news and notes from the Australian PGA Championship. Nelly Korda's engaged, which is devastating news for a number of people out there. I know potentially Ryan maybe one. Tim Bowman rings a
for sure. Tim for sure.
Tim really is devastated. I think it was like a really, really tough scene there when that news came out during the Skins game. Fuzzy Zeller has passed away. Two-time major champion, suffered a heart attack. Thoughts are with him and his family. And obviously our discussion of the week. We're going to save that one for the end. So you guys will have to watch all the way through to hear that discussion of the week question. Let's start out, though, with the Hero World Challenge this week. Are you guys dialing into the Hero, or do you not care about this? It sucks, obviously. Tiger's not playing, but we've got a press conference tomorrow. But, we still do have, Jordan Spieth, Scotty Scheffler in that final pairing from the Bahamas. I might turn it on if I'm bored, but definitely not locking in too hard to the Hero. What do you guys think? Hutch?
I asked you guys earlier, there's a golf tournament after Tiger has a press conference tomorrow. I was a little confused when y'all started talking about it, but no, I mean, weaker field, obviously the normal. You've got the built-in disappointment that we've all got because we all were, prior to the back surgery news, expecting Tiger to be there. Coming back, this would have probably been his return from the Achilles. So we were kind of expecting that. Otherwise, Scotty should win. I think it's going to depend on how much golf Scotty's been playing at home, whether he comes with a sharp game or not. Joey could probably speak a little better on it because his guy's the clear far and away favorite here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's going for, I don't think anybody's three-peated before, so obviously the heavy favorite. I don't know that he even needs to practice much. I feel like he's just kind of in cruise mode. I don't know. Maybe it'll give us a little glimpse into, I mean, it's been since, I think, the Ryder Cup, so we'll get a good glimpse as to how he feels and little preview towards next season. It's better than nothing. I mean, like I said, it's the best we've had probably since all the Ryder Cups settled down, and we deserve it. It's been a slow off season of golf, and I know we're going to get into the shortened season here in a little bit, but it's nice to just have a taste to see some big players and big names out there playing some warmer golf, and just a little preview towards the spring that's coming. We're getting into some cold months down here in the South, so I'm excited just to watch people be in warmer weather. It makes me jealous, but also excited for some warm golf.
Yeah, man, I was super excited to see some action on Twitter today about Scotty on the range. Seeing about the pairings come up. I was off the grid for about 8 days during Thanksgiving, so I'm super excited to see some. I'll be definitely tuned in. Good, some of the pairings are kind of fun to watch. You got some Ryder Cup stuff, some pairing-ish stuff going on there. I'm excited. I wish Tiger was playing them with Hutch. And after the after the press conference tomorrow, it will be a slight letdown for me just to see him talk about what he may and may not be able to do at this point. But I'm extremely excited for some golf in the Bahamas, man.
Yeah,
John, are you expecting anything?
Tiger?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the main event here. That's the main event. This press conference is the big deal tomorrow.
yeah, I'm not expecting a ton. I think he's going to allude to the fact that he hopes to play more next season. Whatever that means, we don't really know at this point. But he's going to use the usual language. Feeling good, long way to go.
Made the right decision for my health.
Yeah, made the right decision. Sucks I'm not able to play this week. He's going to get asked about the Champions Tour for sure.
Yeah.
I could see him sort of responding back like, whoa, like slow down. Like I still got 30 days before that. And I guess we'll see kind of how he reacts, but he's going to be asked in a serious way about the Champions Tour. They're going to ask him like, are you planning to play on there next season? How often do you think you could play? So we're going to get a sense. You can usually kind of tell, but he's going to play it close to his best as he always does, right? I don't think that we're going to learn a whole lot. We've been through this so many times before. Why would anything be different this time around, right? I think even just from the last couple of years, I think he's sort of revealed a little bit more to us than usual, and it's kind of backfired. Like, remember that year he said he's going to play once a month? Like, that didn't pan out too well. So I really don't think we're going to get too much. I guess we'll see.
And we got to sit through that part, like at the very beginning of the press conference when the Hero MotorCorp guy sits there and talks about all the good things that Hero MotorCorp is doing.
Yeah.
While Tiger sits right next to him, and everybody in the room is like, just, can we skip this part? We know Hero's great. Let's talk to the big cat over here.
We want to know if you're going to let Charlie hit all the balls in the PNC and you're just going to putt for him. Like, that's what we really want to know.
Yes.
He might get asked about that. I mean, I don't know if he'd be prepared to answer yet. We're still a little bit ways away, right? 3 weeks out. I'm not expecting the PNC, but you never know. If he's just putting and chipping and Charlie is hitting all the shots, then it's possible. I guess we'll see tomorrow. I don't expect a ton. It'll be good to see him. It's been a while since we've had him in front of a microphone, so that'll be nice to hear from him. But in terms of like concrete details about a comeback, I don't think we're gonna get too much. He's gonna get asked as well about like what led to this surgery and when did things start to kind of go downhill again with the back. So we might glean something from that. But yeah, I don't expect a lot. Said it a few times now.
I'll be paying close attention to when he answers that question.
Right.
What led to the surgery?
Yeah, because prior to that, I mean, it was just the foot, right?
The Achilles.
Yeah, the Achilles surgery, right? So that's what we were waiting on, and then the back stuff started to pop up. So we'll
saw those three triangles of death.
Yeah, never good. Never a good sign when those come across the screen. But yeah, Hero World Challenge. It's just a kind of a slow week. Especially the last couple years with him not playing, it's definitely been tough for sure. The viewership's been down, I think, and just the field in general feels a little bit weaker as well. Doesn't feel like they're attracting some of the top talent that they used to get. It's also unfortunate that, guys like JT are out, not playing. They're usually one of the bigger guys who's in the field. So we'll see how it all goes. Looking forward to the presser tomorrow, and we'll see how the Hero shakes out over the weekend.
Speaking of JT real quick though, I do see he's doing a lot more podcasts in his downtime. That's kind of what you need to do with your back surgery, right?
You got a lot of free time, bro.
Yeah. Was he on the he jumped into the booth during the Skins game, I think.
He did.
Did he say anything in there? Or?
I think he was just kind of joshing with the boys a little bit.
Right. Okay. We'll leave it at that for the Hero. We'll report back. We'll see how it goes. Some huge news about the potential PGA Tour schedule shakeup. So I think we talked about it a little bit last week, right? The report that there could be reduced schedule size, 20 to 22 events. Well, now Golf Digest is out with some additional details. They're talking about a late February start to the season, which is after the Super Bowl. Possible elimination of the Hawaii events. So both the Century Tournament of Champions and the Sony Open gone from the schedule potentially. Torrey Pines also gone from the schedule potentially, and part of the West Coast swing. Not sure if that just means Torrey or if that also means the what's the Desert Classic? Maybe the Desert event could be gone.
Waste management?
But no, the La Quinta.
Oh, yeah. The American Express.
Amex, yes. Reports that we could see bye weeks the week after all 4 majors. So just weeks off the week after the majors. I don't think the players would be too upset about that. That's probably something that's something they would enjoy. They're talking about the elimination of 1 to 2 Florida events. Now, the 2 that I saw mentioned, I believe, was the Cognizant and the Valspar. So we'll see if those events become victims of the schedule slashing. Elimination of 1 Texas event is possible as well. And new events are possible in bigger metropolitan cities out towards the East Coast. So we'll see. I believe I saw New York and Boston mentioned as potential locations for new events. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think before I get your thoughts. Brian Rolap was asked about this at the CNBC CEO Council Forum. He didn't say that anything had been decided upon, but he also said that yes, it's being considered, which is kind of all you need to know. And I mean, Golf Digest is not going to report with their sources all this detailed information if it wasn't very, very credible. That's just kind of how it is. Like if Golf Week or Golf Digest reports like this, they're usually putting it out there. They want to see the public reaction, in my opinion. So what do you guys think about this potential reduced schedule? Ryan, are you on board with this smaller 20 to 22 all on the same playing field signature event kind of deal?
I mean, I don't know if I'm on board, but what I can say is this has the fingerprints of a former NFL executive all over it, based off of everything that you just said. With the bigger markets getting tournaments, eliminating some of the, I think I don't remember his 3 pillars, but one of them was scarcity. And that's what stuck out to me. It's like, hey, make the product a little bit more desirable. And then the bye weeks after the majors, that kind of felt a little playoff NFL-ish to me. So, I'm I can't say I'm 100% in on it, but because I don't want to see guys losing chances to play, but at the same time, like I want the product to be the best that it can, and I want to give this guy 2 years to really put his hands on this and see what it looks like. I I just don't I don't know enough about the intricacies of what he's discussing with the board. So, but this is definitely an NFL guy coming in and putting his fingers on it.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like he comes from an organization that's the king of sports in America. Like they're the model. So if he's going to apply some of those principles to all this, hell, who are we to argue against it, right? Like, let's see what happens first. Let's give it a chance, see what happens. If it's no good, they'll adjust. I mean, that was just a couple of years ago, maybe even last year, that they put in these signature events, right? Like they've shown that they're willing to change if it's necessary. So maybe we'll get there. I don't know. I think it's a bummer that John said they were talking about getting rid of the Honda, which a lot of really good memories from the Honda. We're just gonna throw PGA National out? Like, what are we doing? Can't we get rid of some other stupid ass tournament? Like, what are we? Get rid of the Travelers, bro. Nobody cares about Connecticut.
Valspar, we have memories too. Tiger got T2 there.
He did. He couldn't make a single putt the last day until like the 17th hole. Yeah. See,
I will
we were
say
like that.
It foreshadows a big change for the PGA, which I think just frightens a lot of people. But again, we've talked time and time that Brian Rolap's going to bring in steady change. Like that is the whole point of bringing in a new CEO. I'm a fan of it. I think that it's a bummer for the players, obviously, that are trying to make their way. It tightens the avenue of playing as a PGA Tour player for some of the guys outside the bubble. But in terms of the product, and especially as a viewer, this is how you churn out the maybe, let's say, 20 to 25% that the PGA Tour fan or just golf fan in general is not interested in a normal season. They're not going to tune in for some of these smaller events that aren't pushing high-quality golf. I mean, I know they're two different sports, but you look at football. Can you imagine if a couple of players, you just imagine Hutch, Bijan, just like, you know what, I'm going to pick 2 games this year that I'm not going to play and just, it's not a, conference rival. Yeah, and I get it. Football's, it's different when you have a week commitment versus one game. But if you make each event seem a lot more pressure worthy, and again, I like the idea of buys after majors to give everybody the opportunity to say, hey, take a rest week, go regroup, come back stronger for the rest of the events until the next major. I see the vision. I know obviously there's probably a lot of kinks that got to get worked out, and I'm sure it's logistically a nightmare to stare at, down the barrel, but I see the formidable ability of it being a good event. Again, I'm sure some people will be upset about some Florida, Texas events, some of that West Coast swing being eliminated, but I think if you iron it out and make the product of the other events that much higher, it ends up leveling out.
And I think that's where the scarcity argument comes in, because you can relate this back. Like, if you think about this on the macro level, you can relate this to economics. Like, if the supply is lower, the demand is much higher. That's the same about viewership. I mean, it's the same about the NFL season. And even though they expand the season, every few years, now we're at 17 games or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, if it's like baseball to me, we always argue about baseball, right? And one way to fix baseball, and I know the traditionalists are going to hate this, but 162, that's a lot. Like, it's super diluted. And if you narrowed that down a little bit, obviously you would have to, the record books would be distorted, but it's still kind of the same macro argument. It's just like, you gotta have people that are engaged in the most important events. And if you have a random event and your TV ratings are down, well, where's your return? It's still a business at the end of the day. Where's your return on your money? So I kind of just think about it as a business decision, even though I understand that there's going to be a lot of people that think about it in more of a personal, more of a, regional.
Cutting some of these smaller events though, it's if you want to put it in NFL terms, it's like getting rid of a preseason game.
Yeah.
None of the real players are playing. Nobody cares. The super diehards are going to watch, but how many super diehards are there? Like, there's not that many. It's just we're getting rid of a preseason game. Although I wish the preseason game wasn't played at the freaking Honda.
Well, Ryan did. I guess about that COVID baseball season rocked. Like, it actually felt like each series and each game was like a massive thing. You can't really afford to lose 5 games in a row, and it's a speck of dust on a piece of paper. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the baseball angle makes a lot of sense just because, again, it just makes everything matter a little more. I'd be a fan if they were to, again, this is probably even further down the road, but if you're trying to come up with some middle tier of PGA events that you can somehow have for other guys to, again, try to get back into that top bubble of performing players, to, like, if you need to add some second tour events that are going on while those other events are going on, or some difference between Corn Ferry and this, I don't know how you do it, but I think in terms of the product, it's the best moving forward. And yeah, you'll complain about how, same way with baseball, about records and everything. Like, that's just, every sport's done that at some point, and there's always been comparisons trying to be drawn. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. It's not going to be a perfect world 100 years later.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see kind of how it shakes out with the schedule. I mean, what we're talking about wouldn't kick in until 2027. Um, and I don't know how deep they've gone on these discussions. Like, it was also reported that the Future Competitions Committee has only actually met once. So I don't know how serious this is. I mean, I think it is pretty serious. Obviously, they're just kind of hashing it out on that call, but groundwork and legwork is done well before they actually get on this call and say, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" Right?
I saw Ryan shaking his head when you said that. We talked about that last week, Ryan. That this is the one that Tiger's in charge of, right? That committee. Yeah, he's been a little busy. You can't have a meeting without the boss, bro. You can't have a meeting without the boss.
I did say if they would do all this in one meeting, imagine if we held like 2 or 3 a year. We'd probably have a whole tour season. Like these are
got like, yeah, it's like all-time elite efficiency out of these guys.
We need a case study on these meetings.
Some interesting comments from a 6-time major champion by the name of Sir Nick Faldo regarding Rory McIlroy's future at the major championships. He said, quote, "It is like climbing Everest. You don't turn around and say, let's go up again next month. There was so much emotion at Augusta, and you cannot reproduce the emotion to win a major like that again. So I think it will be tough for Rory to win another one. This isn't just about Augusta. This is about winning another major altogether." Have to say I don't agree with Faldo on this one. I know Rory McIlroy went long distance between his win in 2014 at Valhalla and the 2025 Masters tournament. 11 years between them. I mean, but Rory McIlroy has found his game here in the last little while. And I don't think I have any concerns about him, winning another major in the next few years. Like,
if anything,
worries about that?
If anything, the Masters made me more confident that he will win a major after.
Yes.
We saw such a dip for a while where you're like, okay, maybe he's just not going to get this done and win the Masters. And I get and obviously Nick Faldo knows more ball knowledge about golf than I would and understanding the player perspective. But Rory did hit that slump after the Masters for a little bit. Like, we saw him kind of just take some time off. He was enjoying the high of winning the Masters. But then he goes and does second at Scottish, T7 at the Open. Like, he's been playing insane golf. He won the Irish Open, just came in second at the DP World Tour Championship. Like, Rory's still playing insanely good golf. I wouldn't doubt. Now, his window might be tightening. He might have hit the Masters win, and he's like, all right, I've got maybe 5 or 6 years to go have a really good shot at it. But I think in that 5 or 6 years, he's got plenty of opportunity to win a Masters. Or, I mean, a major.
And that window is just age-related. I mean, that's literally like Faldo. He pointed out that, what do you say? It's like climbing Everest.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a dude who has climbed Everest 31 times in the last 31 years.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
respectfully, fuck are we talking about?
I'll tell you, if you look at the 4 majors next year, I promise you Scotty will probably be the favorite to win, and second on that list will be Rory. I would assume it plays out like it did this year. It'll be Scotty, Rory. So I think it's crazy to assume that he wouldn't win one of them.
Yeah, I don't understand the comments. I think those comments would have been more warranted in that like May to June to July period after Rory was going through that lull of like just being disinterested. Like, you could tell he was disinterested. It was that we could talk about it. It was on social media. He said it. For fun's sake, he said it. Like, he was like, I kind of, I mean, he rode a high. I mean, he literally was coming down off of a high. But then you see his end season form, as we have talked about on this podcast, that he's in great form. He's playing super well. And I think he takes care of his body. I think he's very in tune with his technology. I think he is very in tuned into what Tiger was really trying to do towards the end of his career and honing in on the schedule that he wants to play so that he's not so so tired and just so jaded from just round after round after round. And he's even said as much. What is he going to do, John? Eliminate 2 or 3 tournaments or something like that, maybe going forward. So I can see 2 or 3 more majors in Rory's future. I don't see. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he's gonna be right there with a chance in many more majors.
Now, do we think this has anything possibly to do with the Sir becoming a threat potentially? I don't know if that even
Think the
applies
Kings can get
to
to it?
Ireland. I know it's is Northern Ireland a part of the British Empire? I think it's separate, but I don't know if they have those designations for Northern Irish people. But we know that Nick Faldo is super, the ego is high for sure.
The
Right.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it has, and I don't know that there's any bad blood between the two of them, but for the longest time, for however many years now, Nick Faldo was the greatest European golfer, probably, right? Like that. I mean, it's
Yep.
pretty consensus on that. Rory McIlroy is the greatest European golfer. I don't really think at this point we can argue against that. I don't know what all the statistics are, but based off of the number of wins, the number of majors, the numbers of years of consistency, I don't see how. So I think it's probably just kind of a hard pill to swallow for Nick. That'd be my thought around it.
Here's the other part. The other part is, how many majors do you think Nick Faldo has?
6.
6.
How many's Rory got?
5. Exactly, Hutch. That's exactly what it is. He's bearing down his neck.
He's not saying what he thinks will happen. He says what he wants to happen, and he has.
Exactly. It says, while you're right, Ryan, like he may be Rory might already be the greatest European. That majors thing is the last thing in the way.
Like, it's no different
last
than
thing.
It's no different than Jack Nicklaus. Like, back in, when Tiger was still younger and, like, he had 14. I'm not saying, like, Jack's a big Tiger guy. Like, they get along and there's no bad blood and all that. But he never wanted him to, like, break his record. Like,
Hell no. Nobody does.
Against it or anything. Like, he's not rooting against Tiger to not win majors. But he's not mad either. Like, it just cements his place. Like, oh, I have 18, you have 15. Sucks, right? So
You flash over to Jack Nicklaus's house at the 2009 PGA, and he's like, "Why he turned into a YE Yank fan so fast, bro."
Bro, that was one of the most depressing days of my life. It was terrible. Him lifting that stupid bag. I'm like, that's the dumbest celebration I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, look at John celebrating this bullshit. We're gonna watch Tiger at a press conference in the morning and remember the good old days.
I remember where I was at that moment. Oh man, I remember the shirt Tiger was wearing. It was that kind of a off red a little bit.
Were you in middle school or something?
I was young for sure, but 2009 PGA is a big memory for me because he was so close. And man, Y Yang, that was like Y Yang. Man, that was a huge moment for Y Yang.
What did he hit into that 18th hole? Was it like a 7-wood or a 5-wood or something? Yes, something.
Liquid, yeah.
Oh,
Disgusting.
That was a huge
The
moment.
audacity to not use an iron.
Y Yang is Korean, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
So
Wasn't that like the first like South Korean like major?
Yeah, because I think KJ Choi was, right, and he didn't win a major. Is that the whole?
yeah.
Do I have?
Was Y
think-
Yang is Korean though, right? I got that right.
Yeah,
I do believe so.
Yeah.
YE Yang is Korean. Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll see what happens this week. We'll see what happens with the Tiger Woods press conference. I'm sure all
YE Yang.
Tiger fans will be tuned in.
YE Yang currently on the Champions Tour.
he
They're
is.
coming for blood next year, baby.
I'm pretty sure, Hutch, I actually saw him in an adjacent fairway when I went to that Champions Tour event and up here in Virginia at the Dominion. I'm pretty sure I saw him in an adjacent fairway. I felt a little angst.
Tiger's gonna be busting that ass at Firestone next year, boy.
Yeah.
Yep, he is for sure. That's got to be circled on the calendar along with the Insperity Invitational.
Yes. Sponsorship is king, baby.
That sleeve has been activated. Never thought I would see the day where we would have a logo on Tiger's sleeve, but here we are.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy and Liv comments. Never gets old. I thought maybe Rory was distancing himself from making these types of statements, but he has decided to once again give his opinion on the future of Liv. So I'm going to read you guys some quotes. I believe these came from when he was speaking at the CNBC CEO Council forum as well. He said, quote, "A lot of these guys' contracts are up. They're going to ask for the same number or an even bigger number. Liv have spent 5 or 6 billion, and they're going to have to spend another 5 or 6 just to maintain where they are. So I'm looking at the world of golf. I'm way more comfortable being on the PGA Tour side than on their side. But who knows what will happen?" That was his response. So just curious, what do you guys think about Rory's comments about Liv? Do you think that the PIF cares about spending another $5 billion to maintain their current place in the game?
I mean, first of all, John, the fact that you thought he was done making these comments was a pipe dream. And second of all, like I don't think the PIF cares how much money they spend because they literally have endless wells below the surface of the earth that they can just continue to pay whoever they're paying. I kind of don't understand why Roy just doesn't check out on this conversation. And I know it's because he's asked and he doesn't want to just no comment, I don't care kind of a deal, but this conversation to me has gotten a little boring and it's a little jaded. I just let's let the bigger powers, let's let the PGA Tour, let's let the new CEO figure out what he wants to do. Let's let him put his footprint on this. I do agree with Rory. I would rather be on the side of the PGA Tour right now. I would if I was in his shoes, but maybe not if I was a different guy. Maybe I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. So, I think it's too early. I'm not trying to comment on that. I don't know why he's trying to comment on this at this point.
All right,
Yeah, I don't know if we should.
Joey,
Go ahead.
before I let you speak, I just want to read the Bryson DeChambeau answer as well, because he was also asked about the future of Liv and the PGA Tour coming together. In an interview with Fox News, he said, "Man, I wish something major would happen, but I don't think it's going to in the immediate future. I think there are too many wants on both sides and not enough gives on the other. We're just too far apart on a lot of things. It's going to take some time, but ultimately, I do think the game of golf will grow internationally." Joey.
Yeah, I mean, were they both asked the same question?
Yeah, in different kind of
Okay.
ways. But yeah.
I mean, I agree with Ryan that, like, sure, I don't disagree that I'd rather be on the PGA Tour side. I don't know how the question was phrased or what inclinated Rory to think that 5 or 6 billion was like their cap as suspending. Like, I'm sure that they drew out their plans and knew how much they'd spend and made it past 3 or 4 years of planning. Nor do I think that they have really any ceiling for their limits to spend. Now, that doesn't say that they realize that there's a trajectory and they aren't willing to spend, 7, 8 billion in the future. Yeah, two very vastly different approaches to it. I know, like we said, Rory kind of has to stick to his talking points that he's been on the whole time. He just kind of knows what to say and what not to, and sticks heavily with the PGA side. And again, he's not wrong in the sense of they're going to have to keep spending a lot of money to stay stagnant. And how do they improve that? Throw more money at it, I guess. I'm not sure what money does to improve the actual value of Liv. You can pay players all they want. I don't think it's going to pay off that much in how well they play or what names you bring to Liv, unless you just do a full overhaul, which we know is just not the reality nowadays. So I just don't think money's a factor for Liv. I think they're trying to get more creative monetarily. I think they're trying to find ways to include the Brysons and do all these spin-off tours and events and everything, which is smart because, again, you can only throw so much money at it before it just is just a burning pile of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, the two vastly different views from that question.
It is. And I mean, I think there's better ways to express what he was trying to express. like $5 or $6 billion. I just looked it up. The PIF has somewhere around 1.1, $1.2 trillion under their control. So just like thinking about that, 5 or 6 billion, nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. So I think like what you're saying, there's a lot of good in what you said, that they are trying to be more creative about it. Like, and his argument could be better made in another way, aside from, saying that the money's going to be what holds them back. The money ain't holding them back. The money's never held them back. If anything, like you said, they'll just throw more at it to get more good players to come. But that may not be the answer. Like, all their contracts kind of, like you say, it may not be the answer. Maybe what you're saying, like with them, partnering up with, trying to capitalize a little bit on Bryson's popularity, which he's by all accounts the most popular golfer in the world. Not saying he's the best, but he's definitely the most popular. His massive YouTube following, things like that. Like, I think they've certainly had a more open and liberal policy of letting the players record themselves and make money off of themselves inside the ropes, things that the PGA Tour is now kind of having to start doing because their membership was complaining so much that, I don't know if they're going to lose more people or if Liv's going to go out and buy more people. I think the talent's there. It's just getting them all to play. And two, like, legacy of a tour is not built overnight. You know what I mean? Like, we're 4 years into this thing. We think of the PGA Tour as King Kong because they've been around for 70, 80 years. How long? Like, forever? Feels like they've been around for so long that their legacy is kind of built. The legacy of these certain events, like, we hold the Honda in such high regard, but then you're talking, just strictly your non-majors, like Pebble Beach is held so high. That didn't happen overnight. We're too early into the live thing to discount or rule them out completely. And we may not, honestly, we may not get there in the next 20 years to where we can have a fair assessment of the two things. And that's assuming that they stay separate entities, which I think ultimately they're not going to. They'll come together in some form or fashion.
Okay. Just while we're on this topic, I got a hot take for you guys.
Ooh, serve it.
Sorry, I have a spicy one here, and I need to hear what you guys think. I think about the PGA Tour, and I think about Live, and I love the PGA Tour, like, because of the allegiance we have to Tiger and whatever. But when I'm thinking, okay, which of the two tours is like the new and the modern and the fresh tour? I'm thinking it's Live. I just think that the PGA Tour actually needs a rebrand. I don't know why they're so stuck on maintaining the same status quo that it's been for so long. Like, they can still continue with the legacy. They can still continue with everything it means to play on the PGA Tour. The trophies aren't changing. The events aren't changing. The history is still there. I just think that a lot of the things that they do is still very archaic. And when I think about what's new and what's old, I think PGA Tour and Live. It's like PGA Tour is like the old dinosaur grandpa that's been doing things the same way for the last 100 years. And then you have new kid on the block, Live. Whether you love it or hate it, it's something different. It feels like it's a new take on golf. That's my interpretation of it. I watch both tours. I enjoy both. But I honestly believe that the PGA Tour needs to like do some sort of a rebrand. I know it costs a lot to like change your logo and change your marketing and your style and that kind of thing. I just think that things need to be kind of shaken up. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe everything's great for the PGA Tour business-wise. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it when you put the PGA Tour and Live beside each other. How do you think they kind of stack up?
If things were so great, they wouldn't be changing shit every year. I mean, that's just the long and short of it. Schedule, all that stuff, increasing the purses, signature events. Now we're getting rid of signature event. Like, they wouldn't be changing shit every year if things were great.
Right.
They're like, most of this is in response to Live.
90% of it. What PGA Tour did was they basically sat there and said, we are the kings of this professional golf realm. Nobody except for maybe a couple possibilities are going to come and disrupt that. And Live was the one possibility. It was a shit ton of money being thrown at professional golfers. It disrupted the game insanely. I mean, in a matter of a couple months, you had guys that you thought would be allegiant to the tour forever stripped away, and were just obviously it was a whole dramatic situation. But the PGA Tour got caught on their heels, and I think they, for the better part of the first year, at least with Liv, they said, no, we're going to watch you guys crash and burn, and we're going to stick to our guns and what we care about, and that's our integrity, and we're doing things the way they always have been done. And I think slowly over the years, they've realized Liv isn't really crashing and burning, and they have to adapt. And I think, like Hutch said about how it's going to take Liv a little while to change, I think the PGA Tour doesn't want to rush into things too fast, because it's just a recipe for disaster if you send somebody in and just blow everything up. But I do think, John, they are taking the right steps, especially how we've talked about with Brian Rowlap, slowly introducing the ideas and implementation of new things for the tour. But it's got to be done slowly. You can't throw everything together at once and expect the product to look together, because then you just look desperate. Then you look like you're trying to play, catch up to Big Brother. And but I think that's the situation they're in right now.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, remember, they at the beginning of all this, all the PIF wanted was a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And Jay Monahan just blew him off completely. None of this all of this could have been prevented if they'd have just gave him a seat at the table. But they held on, like you said, to their old school purse strings and their integrity and their morals and all that stuff, and said, nope, we're dealing with you. And as a result, here we are.
Yeah, and I mean, Joey, to your point, like the PGA Tour cannot just up and change everything. When you have an established brand that is well built, regardless of whether you think it's successful or not, but this past year will tell you that they've been successful. It's not like a startup. A startup can throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, right? The PGA Tour cannot do that, because they can ruin all the margin that they have and that they've built in the brand, all the equity that they have in a brand. I do think, John, they do need some rebranding. I don't know if the logo changed. If the logo is going to change, it needs to be Tiger Woods as the goddamn logo. That's what needs to happen. But like, there are some things that they should take from Liv, but then you hear a lot of the current reports from players on Liv. They hate that music, right? So like, that's one aspect that, like, some people just that's low hanging fruit, right? Like, they think, oh well, they got music playing, it's party time. A lot of the players really hate that, like, to be frank. So, but I do think some of the little things that they're trying to do, some of the things they're trying to allow, like, their players to do that the PGA Tour doesn't allow, with their own filming or whatever, I do think some of that does need to be incorporated with the tour. I mean, everybody needs to be adaptable. If you're not going to be adaptable, and if the PGA Tour is not going to be adaptable, they're never going to grow, right? Like, that's just the nature of business. So, I do think that there's some things that they can take for sure. I don't. It's hard for me to judge, because this year was fairly successful based off of all the metrics that we've seen based off of PGA Tour ratings. So I would be curious to see, what are your thoughts on the ratings this past year, John, from the tour, since they were so high?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. I mean, it seems like the signature events did well, right? I mean, that's kind of what people were focused in on with regards to the ratings. In other ways, it was hard to believe to me in some cases about the ratings, just because I've seen the social reaction online was down across a lot of the tournaments, and it just felt like there was generally low hype at a lot of the events. Like, there were events this year on Sundays where the PGA Tour posted like one video before like 3 p.m., which is just absurd. Like, I don't see how a title sponsor would be pleased with that on Championship Sunday. You're not building any awareness that the final round is on. You're not hyping up the leaders. I know they know that most people are only tuning in after 3 o'clock or whatever, but we're talking about a 4 or 5 hour event. They need to be promoting it throughout the day. Like, ratings are ratings. I guess it is what it is. They say their like viewership's way up, so we'll see how it goes this year. These big changes wouldn't be kicking in until 27, right? So they've already got the sponsors locked in for 26.
But the thing you just mentioned, those are big changes. Like, there's so many minute details, especially with social presence and all these other things that they can be doing that aren't barely at any cost to them, let alone going to be some dramatic effect that people wouldn't even probably notice that they're changing. And again, I'm sure they're working on that end, but stuff like that, John, that you mentioned, even tournament experience on site, even though it's not having anything to do with the ratings, like, there's little things that you can do that don't change the structure of the PGA Tour that just make it an overall more exciting and fun event that takes some aspects of live. Like, you don't have to have music blasting, but you also don't have to have, barely anything for patrons and guests and visitors to do besides watch golf and, chill at the concession stand.
And I think the biggest thing that they've adopted, if we're saying in 2027 they're going to go to a shrink schedule, like that's the biggest thing you can do is shrink your schedule, and then that's kind of a reflection of the smaller schedule of live. To be honest, I mean if that's the biggest change you can make is saying, hey, we're going to take this number of games, this number of matches, this number of tournaments, and say we're going to shrink it down. I mean, that's a pretty huge change.
Yeah, it was interesting because Brian Rollup, I think, Ryan, you watched and I watched the event that he spoke at there, the CNBC Council Forum. They were basically asking him like, well, it sounds a lot like you're just like NFLifying the PGA Tour calendar. And he was very quick to say, no, that's not what we're doing. We're looking at several of the aspects that are better for fan engagement, better for media partners, better for the overall PGA Tour product, and trying to bring those changes over. So we'll see. It seems to me like that's what they're going forward with. I don't think he would have spoke the way he did about it if it wasn't being very strongly considered. So I think we'll hear more about that as we get into early 2026, because they're going to need to get schedule figured out early that year, early next year, with sponsorship and whatnot, right?
That's just a fun word that John just made up. NFLify.
I mean, but at the same time, if I was him, I think I would have said, would you not like to take some of the most would you not like to take some of the best qualities from the highest rated sport in our country? I mean, is that not, would you not want me to come over here with some fantastic influence? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a
Strategy.
Well, and he's undoubtedly got some of that just built into his business acumen anyway. Like, you're not working at a powerhouse like that, not soaking things in, right? Like, so that's whether or not like it's out loud that we're doing it that way. That's what's going to happen because that's what he knows.
yeah.
And
He's clearly adaptable.
Yeah, exactly. And I again, like the same way you were talking earlier, like we've got to give him a couple of years just to see what happens here. And as I said, they've shown a willingness to change every year. If it doesn't work, they'll change. That's just, they're adaptable, and this is a new thing, and I think it's going to work.
A lot of things the PGA Tour was doing in the as Liv came onto the scene was very reactionary, which is never necessarily a good thing from a business standpoint, because if you're just constantly reacting to things, then everything is just sort of rushed. You just, like, obviously you need to be adaptable as a business, but the best business is when you're proactively planning for those changes and then implementing them, because you're getting the full effort behind everything that you're trying to do. Whereas reaction, it's just like, oh, Liv did this, we got to counter with that. It's not necessarily a good thing from a business perspective. So maybe we're going to now start to see them kind of, we've got the lay of the land here with what's going on with Liv. Brian Rollup's coming in. Now he's going to try to kind of put his stamp on what he feels are significant changes for the PGA Tour going forward.
And I think that's some of the differences you see between Brian and Jay, where Jay was just anti-live. If they did it, it's got to be wrong. It's the shittier way to do it. It's like, no, hey, let's be adaptable. Maybe they do have some good ideas. Maybe there are some things that we can take and make this tour better. And then ultimately, maybe we can make this game mesh together. Maybe we make the two tours mesh together. So I think he's the right man for the job. I hope I hope everything that he is preaching and saying, especially in the clips that we watched today, John, I hope he means all that, and I hope a lot of that comes to fruition.
All right. Speaking of live, let's talk a little bit about David Puig. Is it David Puig? How do you say his
Puig?
name? Puig. David
Puig.
Damn, John just said that like he's from Quebec or something.
Yeah, that French Canadian came out.
Yeah.
That did. It came out hard right there.
David Puig won the Australian PGA Championship. This was his first start as a full-time member of the DP World Tour. So although he is a live golf star, he has also got full status on the DP. And this was his first start as a full-time member, and he won. So good for him. He's going to be going back over to live to start the season there, but he'll be playing a number of DP World Tour events, I imagine. Not sure if you guys tuned in at all to the Australian PGA. I know this coming week we've got the Australian Open, right? Rory McIlroy is making the start. Is it this week or next? I think it's this week, eh? I think Rory's playing the Australian. What is it?
Speaking of the Canadian coming out, he just gave us an A right there, boys.
Yeah, here you go, fellas.
I'm looking that up for you.
Yeah, I think it's this week. The Australian Open. Big event. Obviously, Cam Smith missed the cut at the Australian PGA. Said to Golf Digest Australia, quote, "It can definitely get in your head. I think it's in my head. It's just frustrating. It's been my story of the year. Feel like I've worked hard all year and got nothing out of it. I do know what the answer is. It's just to keep working hard and try to be patient. Try to do all the right stuff. For whatever reason, it's not coming together on the course." Cam Smith, of course,
It is this
got in all 4 major championships as well during the 2025 season. So it's been a season to forget for Cam Smith. It feels like it's been a very long time since he won the Players.
Yeah, it has, and I did confirm it. That tournament is this week. So that's something we could look forward to too. Like we catch that late, like after the conference championships on Saturday night there, Joey.
I got nothing we're aiming for, so.
I guess Cam Smith also won the Open.
Yeah.
And he left the tour abruptly after winning the Open. I think
Yes, he did.
his number went up a few dollars after that win, and he took off.
Yeah.
Scotty's trampling through his line on purpose.
Even Parrish won his correlation of him playing when he left, but that boy caught his peak money value and said, "Give me the bag. I'm leaving when I'm hot."
Yeah, I mean, and that's his personality too. Like, I mean, he'll tell you first out, like golf is not his favorite thing in the world. Like, he's just really good at it. Like he peaked that week and he was great. Isn't that the week that on Sunday that Rory could not make a birdie? Isn't that the one that like Rory was supposed to win at St. Andrews and he just couldn't make a birdie? And he made like a birdie, maybe finally about midway through the back 9 or something. Am I misremembering that?
All I remember on that is Cam putting around that bunker.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. He made
Remember that.
yeah.
Crazy.
He made some crazy birdies, especially on the weekend there, because the wind was blowing like hell, I remember. And I think that's the one that they thought kind of Rory gave away in a way. Not that he gave away, just Cam played really well when it was really tough conditions, and I think Rory just didn't make a birdie until midway to the back.
Cam, to your point, like he saw his value at its all-time high, and hey, you're gonna throw me, and I don't know what the number is, but let's just say $150 million. All right,
Yeah,
I'm there. And I'll play around the world. I don't want to stay in the United States all the time. But I remember seeing a clip of him on something where he like went out. He took somebody out fishing for like a special on one of the tournaments, and he was just, you could tell in that like he seemed a lot happier out on the water than he did on the golf course. But
that
it's had hater
on the water.
I'm not gonna hate on him at all. Like, get your bag, brother. If that's what you want to do, get it.
He got his bag.
Yeah,
and fellas, devastating news for several fellows in the golf world. Nelly Corda is engaged. So She made the announcement over on Instagram. Came out during the Skins game. AC Gunderson, former Div 1 football player from Bryant University, is current vice president at Florida Engineering. So did you guys know about this fella? Did you have any familiarity with him? Did you know that she was even dating anyone, or was this just kind of fly under the radar, super like unexpected announcement, right?
It was news to me. I didn't even know she had a boyfriend. I had asked several people, or of is she dating anyone? I had no idea. The only thing you ever hear about, and their family is her sister, and the baby and all that stuff. So I never really even knew that she was dating anyone. So it was totally news to me, and had to be news to Tim.
Tim's crushed.
Tim's never gonna forget Friday, November, whatever day that was, 27th or something.
It was a sad day. It was a bad day.
All right, I'll leave it at that. Congratulations to Nelly Corda. We will be looking for the wedding invitation. I don't think we're gonna get it, but
We'll crash it.
Fuzzy Zellers passed away, fellas, at the age of 74. Believe he had a heart attack. Two-time major winner. He won the 79 Masters and the 84 U.S. Open. I think that's the one he beat. He beat Norman. Yeah. Some controversial comments about Tiger Woods. I'm not going to read it, but some racist remarks. I believe a lot of people sort of remember Fuzzy for that, unfortunately.
So you know where I stand on it.
Yeah, not one of the fire moments. I don't think Tiger will be attending the funeral. But
Tiger just got to show up to the press conference tomorrow, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I did see a guy or two. I can't remember who I was scrolling earlier that said that they'll miss some of his commentary and some of his jokes or something, and in April at the Masters. So I mean, on that note, like obviously, obviously we feel for his family and everything like that. We don't wish any ill will on him as big a Tiger fans as most of us are. But like, at the same time, I mean, I'm sure it will be different for some of those old guys who sit there and shoot the shit at the table at the champions dinner. So, just hope his family's getting through it all right.
Yeah, for sure. And now our discussion of the week, fellas. How cold is too cold to play golf? Gonna go around the table. How cold are you guys teeing it up in? Right?
I mean, prior discussion a little bit, but below 50, I'm not playing golf. 50 degrees Fahrenheit here in the States. I'm just not playing golf. And that's going to be probably with a few layers on, and maybe not playing the tips, maybe playing the 1-up tees. Just because, obviously the ball's not flying as far. But I hate. I still don't like to. I still don't want to thin a 4-iron in 50-degree weather either. Let me be honest, but I think below 50, I'm not playing golf. And I know some of our northern friends. I'm actually in Virginia. I know some of them are probably not gonna like that answer, but because they get a lesser season than we do. But what do you think, Hutch?
Bro, if it's below 60, I ain't going. I ain't going. Listen, I'm cold anyway, like all the time. It's right now it's 45 degrees outside. I have 2 pairs of sweatpants on, and I'm wearing multiple layers. I'm freezing. In my house, I'm freezing. So it's couple that with everything you said about thinning 4-irons and all that. I'm out. I got a bad back. I can't go out there and play when it's that cold. I'm out.
I probably fall somewhere in the middle. If at any point during the round, my hands, like, when your hands just get a little too cold and your fingertips, like you don't feel the golf club as well. You catch a hosel, it's going to shoot up your entire arm. Like, I don't know exactly what temperature that is. It's probably like 46 or something. And then obviously wind chill. Where are we playing? Are we playing in the north? Is it playing down south and it's 45 is a whole different golf course. The northern golf courses are used to 45. It might as well be 60 degrees outside, but wherever that little temperature is, like 46 to 49, where if my fingertips at any point during an 18-hole golf round feel the slightest tingle or numbness, nope, pack it up. We're going home.
Yeah,
You just catch me there from March to October, and that's it.
On time.
I'm taking November through February off.
You guys know where I'm at. Golf season is essentially April, May to end of October at the absolute latest. November through April, it's pretty much shut down here. It's snow. There's no golf. So I've golfed, some fall ball. I mean, anything below 40 for me is a big no-go, I would say. I have played in, 41, 42 kind of thing. It's when the wind is whipping, like you get a 40-degree day, but it's also like the wind is chilly as well. That's brutal. That can be real tough for sure. I can't even imagine having a bad back trying to play through that.
John, I've bet you teed up in like 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. I don't know, whatever, like right at freezing.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Serious question. I think it also depends. Does it also depend on how many beers you bring?
True.
That's another factor for sure. Your correlation of your enjoyment of your round to number of beers is a direct correlation.
Yeah, that liquid warmth behind that.
I got a real question for you, John, because this is so your golf season in Canada, like, do they just shut the courses down
Yeah.
outside of golf season?
Yeah, because you can't play. Like,
Don't they turn into ski resorts sometimes?
No, but then how does membership work? Do you still pay during those off months?
No, so you pay I know a lot of you guys have like month-to-month membership styles down there. That's not how we have it here. You pay for the season. So it's one fee for the entirety of the season. So whenever the course opens, your membership kicks in. Whenever it closes, your membership's done for the year.
Dude, how does it? That's gotta be a nightmare for. I mean, I'm sure y'all have it down to a science, but like grounds crew just having pounds of snow on top of the course for like 4 months out of the year, and it thaws
Like,
on for it to freeze again.
they tarp the greens, right?
Right.
Like, the greens are the biggest thing. Like, as long as they're doing the proper, maintenance protocols with the aeration, the fertilizer, that kind of thing. Like, you see that happening multiple times a year during our golf season. The tricky thing is when it gets cold, like when you start to get into the frosty time of year, like, you start getting frost in early November. That's kind of when they have to shut it down because you can't play golf in the morning if there's a frost, right? Kill the grass.
Yep.
So they got to wait.
Yep.
They got to wait for the frost to burn off. That could be like 10 a.m. when it starts to get colder. So that's cutting into your early morning tee times. That's usually when they start to shut it down. And then once the snow melts in the spring, the biggest thing they're up against is just the drainage, the melting of the snow. So much water, like the snow might be all gone, but the course will be wet. So they need to dry it out, and that can take time as well, right? So usually we're back in action kind of like, it's usually like first, second, third week of May. That the season's back. So we have been playing in April before, if things really are, if it's a mild winter.
It sounds like just a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, I don't. If anyone's curious, it's it's 13 degrees in Ottawa right now, John. That's insane. And it's gonna be the low on Thursday 4, Friday 2, next week -2, 2. Like, no, sorry, I'm not. You can't. Like it's 41 right now, and it's sleeting, and I'm considering sleeping in the office. I don't want to step outside in that.
Yeah, like I wonder, like comparably, what your electric bills are for the winter months. Like seriously, like I wonder, like what is it to compared to if I'm in Virginia and Joey's in Tennessee and Hutch is in Georgia, right? Like so some colder. We do get really cold nights and cold months of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like it's not anything compared to what you guys go through. So I would be interested to see just that.
Well, we're on natural gas for heating. I mean, if electrical bill, if you were on electric heat, I mean, that's gonna go insane, right? I know you guys must be on electric heat and AC. Like, I mean, our AC, our electrical bill in the summer is high because the AC is pumping. But in the winter, our electrical bills actually tend to drop relative to the summer months. But our Enbridge gas bills are like through the roof.
Yeah, I guess I should phrase that more of like energy, just energy in general, like how crazy cold, because that's super cold.
Yeah, from a gas usage perspective, cost perspective, it's 3 to 4 times higher in the winter months. Like,
John, what do you
looking at
you're outside inside?
what do I heat it at in the winter?
Oh, you're gonna have to do the Celsius conversion. It's brutal.
Yeah, let me look it up here.
Just tell the number.
You could, I mean, if you're like a 64 inside guy, where that's a lot more maintainable. But if you're a toasty guy, you need like 73 Fahrenheit. Yeah, your gas bill's at least 5 or 6.
73 is what I'm at right now.
Oh
my
God!
Non-rich.
Yeah, hey, John's got an $800 energy bill every month.
Oh my God. Mine stays at 65.
150 for sure. It's just the way it is. It's cold up here. You got to heat your house.
Hey, cookies, dude.
It is what it is. I don't care. I'm not going to be uncomfortable. I hate coming out of the shower being like an iceberg. Like, just, you know, we live in Canada. You got to heat your house. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
Proud.
That's fair.
yeah. I don't want to be cold getting out of the shower. I'm with you on that.
There's a joke to be made. I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah, just leave that there.
All right. So, fellas, that pretty much does it for this week's episode of the Nuclear Golf Podcast. We'll be back next week for episode number 45, I believe it will be. As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, as well as YouTube. We're posting the link out on X, still experimenting with which platforms we want to go forward with in 2026. Once we have updates on where we're going to be, we'll definitely let you all know. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great episode. It's the off season, but we still managed to grind out an hour. No worries. And we'll do the same thing next week. So I hope everyone enjoys the Hero World Challenge, Tiger Woods press conference. And we will see you on the next episode of the Nuclear Golf Podcast. Later.